Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to this week's edition of He Say.
She say,
I'm your man, Mark.
I'm Tiana.
This week, we have an extra special guest. We have my man, my compadre,
Yo.
also a member of the HMG He-Man gang, Prezi Mac.
El Presidente.
So tonight, okay, this is what we're going to do. We were going to have a very serious discussion. We're going to attempt to have a serious discussion on the black family. However, before we get into that, I want to do something because there's this one great thing I read this week. It's the best thing I read all week, right? It's this article. It has absolutely nothing to do with what we're going to talk about tonight. None. But I think we're going to need some levity prior to going into discussion. Darnell, if you can post the telephone number, because we're going to need your participation tonight when we actually do get on this black family topic. We would like to hear from people because family dynamics are different for almost everybody. So what we're going to talk about here, we need different perspectives. So we encourage your participation. Isn't that right, Tiana?
Yes. Mama.
Okay. So before I do that, I read this article. It's from thebold.com. And this is, you have to excuse me. I was told this week I don't have a good sense of humor. I tend to find things funny. I find a lot of stuff that women go through kind of funny, right? So the article title intrigued me. And it says, if you're not making plans with me, I'm moving on.
Yeah.
Right? And it has 10 things. I guess these are things that guys say to women. And her response is, right? So please bear with me because I find this interesting. Number 1, I lead a busy life too. I'm just as busy as any other adult trying to navigate through life and love, so believe me when I say I totally get it. It's sometimes hard to fit everything in. However, if we're talking and flirting with any intention of developing a relationship, we need to make actual time for each other to make that happen. I'm not an in-between kind of gal. Oh, after I read it, she says I'm going to look at Tiana. It's going to be customary because I just want to see.
Before you started, I actually don't agree with her.
Okay.
I don't agree with that.
On that?
On the very part of the dialogue.
So what? If you're not making plans with me, I'm moving on?
Correct. I don't agree with that.
Whoa, so what is it?
But I'll let you continue.
Okay. No, I'm going to be interested in that, but I'm not going to let you take away from tonight's topic, though. Number 2, I'm not looking for a virtual boyfriend. If I wanted a chat buddy, I would sign up for a pen pal, since that's essentially what we are. I want someone who's there for me in real life.
I like her.
I want someone I can hug, wrap my arms around, and push a shopping cart around the grocery store with on weekends. I'm not settling for anything less, and I shouldn't have to. As you can see, now you know why I was laughing this week. Okay, so number 3, my patience only goes so far.
What?
Amen.
I can only be patient for so long before I'm going to need the real deal.
Man.
If we're not spending time together, how are we going to grow this into something that could actually last?
True.
What?
Wait a minute.
What?
We're only on number 3.
Hold on.
We're only on number 3.
But she's speaking the truth right
No,
now.
wait a minute. After number 1, you didn't agree.
But why is that the truth?
Okay,
I agree
we'll
with
wait till
the-
10. We'll see.
the
We'll see
time.
where you are at 10. Okay. Number 4, it shouldn't be that difficult if it's really what you want.
True.
What?
If you really want something to happen with me, you shouldn't
Really
be. You should be
want
making the effort to get there. Like I said, I get that life gets hectic, but if you really are that busy temporarily, at least tell me you can't wait to finally see me again. See, that's the bullshit right
Men
there.
are scared.
At
Yeah.
least tell me that you can't wait
Men
to
don't like to
finally
break
see me
hearts.
again.
They don't like that. But I agree with that. And I think part of the reason is I think men don't like to reject women because you don't want the response that we're going to give.
Partial. That's
Yeah.
some cases.
You know what I
that's
mean?
true.
And I
In some
think,
cases,
and,
that's
and
true.
that's the reason. I think, like, if you like her, you ain't gotta love her, but if you like her and respect her, you don't want to hurt her feelings. Even
Right.
though you don't want to spend
that's
time with her, you don't want to really reject her outright.
But if you got, say, like you got 2 hands, right,
Hmm.
and you juggling multiple women, it's gonna get.
Yes, you're juggling multiple, and that's the reason why I don't agree with the title. Because if you're dating, everybody have their own purpose.
Right.
You know what I mean? That's the reason why I don't agree with the title of her. But I'm feeling everything.
You're
she's
feeling
saying,
everything she said.
but I just didn't agree
I just
with
have
the
one
title.
thing.
Yes,
What?
press.
Is this like a monthly thing? Is this 1 week she's talking about? Because I may have a 2-week period to where I need to finish on work.
Right.
So the third week may come around, I may be free.
Well, here's what she said. Like
Just
I
tell
said,
me. Just tell
she said, like I said, I get that life gets hectic.
Yes.
But if you really are that busy temporarily, at least tell me if you can't wait
That's
to
all we
finally
ask
see me
for,
again.
honestly. And that's what aggravates me with men so much is that all you have to do is just say
Lie.
it. That's not true. Some of us can understand because we have lives too. That's
But
the part that I understand. That's the part I get with her because we do. Because
what if
guess what? If I'm not hanging with you, I'm hanging with him. So, and it's not always a sexual thing.
well then I can't
But
wait to
no.
see you again.
What do you mean?
That's what she says. At least tell me that you can't wait to see me again. To finally see me again. She wants us to lie. Next, number 5. My time is valuable. I have a full plate of my own. And if I'm willing to make the time for you in between everything else I need to slay,
Oh man.
you should consider
She messed
yourself
up with that.
very lucky. Not everyone gets the same luxury.
Oh no, she's arrogant now at this point.
No, she sounds misguided. Number 6, I'm looking for real life love. I'm not looking for a digital love. I'm looking for the real thing. I want someone to wake up to in the mornings and to snuggle up next to as I
agree.
lay my head down for
She
the
wants
night.
a husband. Why can't she say she wants a husband? That's a husband.
That's what it sounds like, right?
Right, she wants a husband. Like, why can't you just say you want a husband?
But you have to get to that point first.
Yeah.
Right.
You got
you know.
you got to trick
Well,
you got to trick a dude every now and
isn't
again
that
to
the
spend the
whole
night and
fiance
snuggle.
portion though? Don't you get? I mean,
In general, yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
In general, yes.
Number 7, if you wanted me, you'd find the time. I truly
True.
believe that we make time for what we want.
True.
So if you're not making the time for me that I want to make for you, we're not on the same level, and it's probably best to move on.
But whose time? Because see,
That's
G-
true.
not-
she
not
needs-
God's
Good
time.
one, right?
if she may want, say, 4 days out of a week.
Right.
Mhm.
I may only want 2 right now.
hmm
That's not saying next month. I might say, you know what, this is a good girl. Let's go ahead. Let's try 4 days.
From
I
pers-
may need to build up.
from personal experience, whatever your initial agreement was prior to having sex, all that gets bumped up after you have sex. So if she was a Saturday girl, and after you knock her socks off, she gonna try to see 3-4 times a week,
That's if you.
which is a part-time job.
That's true.
That's
But
what it
we're
is.
not going to be on the same page all the time. You may be more invested in this relationship than I am.
But this sounds like a woman who's being neglected, and that's the only time we talk like that is if we feel like we're being neglected.
Well, just more neglect coming your way. Number 8, I'm not getting caught up in stupidity. I will never allow myself to turn into one of those naive girls who waits around for a guy who never shows up. I'm the type that if you're late to the game, I'll give you a slight grace period before I pick up my shoes
She has
and
no
carry on
patience.
without you. I won't be waiting for you to figure it out. Okay, so I have something to add on that. Now,
Okay.
that's a good philosophy to take, but you could be missing out if you're so quick to jump all the time, right?
But how long are you making a person wait though?
How long? I mean,
I agree with her on that point.
I mean, like you just can't.
but
just...
I'm worth waiting for. You can't wait for me?
No, it's not
All-
about waiting for you. It's not about waiting for you. It's about we're developing time.
Okay.
We're developing time. And
All right.
if we're not developing time, if we're not developing a relationship, what's the point?
I agree with her on
Like
that
you're
one.
playing games, and especially if you already know you like somebody. You know what I mean? When you want.
You said like, not
Yeah,
love though.
Right, exactly.
Okay, like.
It's in between like and love. When
Uh-huh.
you like.
Okay, now this is the one I have the most problem with. I'm not here to satisfy your ego on command. I'm not the girl who's just a few characters away from feeding your need for affection. I have needs of my own, and they include real intimacy and connection with someone who exists in the real world. You might as well be a robotic boyfriend app on my phone if all we're doing is texting
Okay.
without making any real plans. I'm a woman looking for real love, not a woman looking for validation in between work meetings. Sounds like she's taking all the fun out of
Well-
life. You know? I just
She sounds like a strong woman.
Wait,
that's
Well,
weird.
I'm serious. That's what she.
so what is she
sounds
complaining
like.
about?
I don't know.
I don't really understand what
I
she's
don't
complaining
get it.
She's
about.
ranting.
So I guess you can't text her unless you want to be serious.
Well, no, I just think that's what all men. That's what men are. Not all men. That's what men are doing now.
What's
Texting?
that? Texting?
Just doing a whole lot of texting because I
Why
find
not?
myself doing a lot of.
Why not? I can do 3 or 4 things while we still
While we
conversate.
yeah.
Well, if we're not meeting up,
Right.
That's what she's saying. She doesn't want a virtual relationship.
I get that.
But you do that to pre-wet.
We ain't been
Good job.
doing it though. We
You
just
got to preheat the
started doing
oven.
it, though.
That's how you do
But
it.
we just started doing that within the last, not even 10 years, I think.
But
honestly,
it made it so much better because
it did
before-
not. No, it did. It distanced everybody. You know what I
Okay,
mean?
see-
People don't have direct connection anymore because I made a post the other day. I said cell phones has ruined everything.
okay, but
I
listen,
really
though.
do feel that way.
They have.
They've ruined
everything?
everything.
They haven't ruined everything.
And the
though.
reason why I posted that, I'm sorry.
But everything.
No, keep
The
going.
reason why I posted that is because I had went to go get something to eat the other day when I posted that, and it was a young girl
Mhm.
cashier on her cell phone,
Yeah, I got
talking to me while she's like ringing my order.
Yeah.
I'm like, are you kidding
Well,
me?
where were you getting food from?
I'm not even gonna say it because that's
Well, 'cause
probably
that's
why.
probably exactly
Uh-huh.
why, though.
I hate you for
Yeah.
that. You're
Uh-huh.
right, though. I agree.
Because if there's a place that had a
Yeah.
manager,
That's true. You're right.
that cannot be acceptable.
You're right.
I didn't used to talk on the cell phone, but I would talk to the person next to me.
Right.
But I will say this though, as far as the cell phones, it's allowed men to maximize their time. But it's there's pros and cons to it. So like it used to be if you got a number, it meant something. Now with cell phones, you're not even at ground zero.
Wow.
But now you could text a bunch of everybody can send a good morning text or whatever, and you can have, if you're a good chef, you can have multiple pots going on the stove.
But guess what, Mark? That's the reason why she feels that way. It's because she doesn't want to be a virtual girlfriend.
Right.
Okay.
Because of that reason, right?
Well,
there.
then let's destroy.
Right.
Let's just destroy technology. Then
No.
it's supposed to make our life easier.
The guy that does that, or the men that do that,
Mhm.
just not for her.
Right. It's not for her. Okay, so last one, number 10, and I love this one. I love it. I love it.
Is this gonna be a good one?
I don't know, but I just love to hear when women say this. Number 10, I deserve better.
Oh gosh.
I only have room for a guy in my life who's in it on all levels. He's the guy who texts me in the morning and the guy I actually get to see at night. He's the guy who makes plans
That's
and
a
can't wait to see me
husband.
next. I want crazy love, the kind that makes you mad with excitement and completely giddy with each plan we make together. If you're not him and you're not making plans with me, I'm moving the hell on.
Tell her stop watching Tyler Perry movies. 'Cause
Yeah.
that's basically what
Because
she's getting.
yeah,
Relationships.
she sounds young. too.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's
that's,
young, she's
that's
young.
not what
Young people
that's
have
not
a lot
what
of
they
opinions.
are. Because after
sounds
about the
young.
first couple months, you ain't giddy every time you talk to this person.
No.
You are not giddy every time you see this
I
person.
usually make women pretty giddy though.
Unless she walk past that television with that hump.
Yes.
And
Okay.
then you gotta pop it
Mac,
But
explain
you
the hump.
gotta spend time with her to do that.
Mac,
Then she
explain
get
the hump,
virtual
though. Can you
boyfriend.
explain
with the hump ass.
Explain the
When
hump.
she walk past that television and that thing is just all nice and round, soft and supple.
If she doesn't have that, please don't pass in front of the television.
But how
There's
do
got
you
to be
know
another
she
path.
has that if you just a virtual boyfriend?
Her butt should be enough for me not to watch the football
Is
game.
That's
that the
how-
reason why she's a
when she
virtual
walk past.
girlfriend? Because
Yep.
she don't have enough.
I don't know.
That hump.
I don't
She
know.
don't have enough hump.
No.
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know
No,
what her
that
issues
might
are.
be what it is.
I don't know what her issues are, even though she illustrated all of them on that
That's
article.
right.
Okay, so that was the fun part of the show. Now, Darnell, we're gonna need the number to pop up pretty soon because people are gonna need to call in. Before we start this thing on the Black family, this is a broad topic, and we're gonna try to frame the discussion, but I think it's almost impossible to do. So before we do this, I want to make a disclaimer. This topic conversation will require us to make a ton of generalizations, okay? I don't believe I should have to do this, but I'm going to do this anyway. So if that makes you angry, don't tune us out, just call in. That's what the phone lines are for, okay? But I think this topic ties in nicely to all that's going on around us now socially, at least with the social climate in this country. All right, so in order to get somewhere with this topic, there's some questions that we will need to ask in order to arrive at some answers. So the first question that I would like to pose to you guys is, what do you think that ails us? What do you think some of the problems are within the Black family? And by family, let me focus this debate a little bit. Not
Right,
debate.
because
Let me focus the discussion. I mean the nuclear family, because us Black people, we're all inclusive. So we got some extended families that we don't even know are blood. So I want to focus this into within a household.
Oh, see, okay. When you first mentioned it this week, I was wondering. I was too busy to ask, but I was wondering if you were thinking about the immediate family
Mm-hmm.
or just the as well as the extended family or just immediate family.
I mean, we can
The
extend
black
it.
family means
We can
what?
extend it, but it still needs to be some immediacy. So when I say
Just
extended
one
out,
household.
it would have to be in household.
What you mean, like a house? Yeah, like a
the
in
household.
mother,
household.
father, just
It could be grandparents,
individual.
whatever, just within the framework,
so
not up the
extended
street.
family
Because
then.
yeah,
Okay.
I got you.
Okay.
it can be extended, but not your cousins down wherever you from again,
Right.
down south. Where you from? Portsmouth.
P-Town, stay down.
Okay.
Oh, gosh.
All right.
I
So if we notice, I didn't laugh. If we can try to get to what some of the problems are.
Okay.
Well, for me, I don't think there are many defined, like guidelines or your defined roles. This is what I do. This is what you do.
And you see that as a problem. Why?
Because then you have chaos. See, coming up, the men in my family, they were the strong ones, and the women, they were the nurturers.
Mhm.
So they knew, this is what I do, this is what you do. Nowadays, the women want to be combative. They want to be the strong ones. It's like they're competing in the same house. If you have two people competing for the same thing, more than likely, you're going to grow apart. There's going to be problems.
Mhm. Do you think? What do you think about that, Tiana?
Well, I don't know if I'm being super sensitive or if it's exactly what I heard.
Okay,
but-
okay. Before you do that, like in order for us, I guess you cannot
let it flow.
remove yourself from that.
Look,
But, I
I
mean, let's not
can't.
get super sensitive tonight.
No, we can't because he made a comment based on how he was raised.
Okay,
Okay.
okay.
So my only issue with that is that I feel like I hear blame on the woman.
Okay.
Okay. And in order for you to blame the woman, I feel like you also have to focus on the man. I mean,
Okay.
she's not in a situation by herself. I believe what ails the black family is that men gave up.
On the family or on women?
Gave up on providing. I was raised in a household where the top of the household was a man that provided for all of his children, extended family, neighbors, everything, with the help and support of my grandmother. But for whatever reason, I have uncles and cousins, male cousins, that did not follow lead.
Mhm.
And it's not that they don't know better. They're
Mhm.
just not doing it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the problem I have. I think we all genuinely know better.
Do we?
I think we know better. I just think that everybody is just doing whatever they want to do for their own personal selfish reasons.
I will definitely agree. You will never find a time that you
Right.
and I will agree more on that last lucent point. Good for you.
Whatever.
So is this
and
a-
that's why it's hard for
On the
me to
selfish part,
blame
but-
the male or the female.
But is
because
this
I
a
think-
money thing? Is that where we going? Is this a money
No, I
thing?
don't think it's a money thing because that's the furthest from. Yeah, it was.
I'm just saying, but you brought in with the
providing
provide.
me. When I use the word provide, that
Uh-huh.
means everything, not just
Uh-huh.
monetary.
Oh,
just
okay.
Everything.
Okay.
Support, love, whatever
Okay.
is needed. That's whatever.
Okay, if I could backtrack a bit, my rationale for having this discussion, because I think the black family has been in sharp decline for some time now,
Right.
and I think it's the large singular reason why we are in the state that we're in socioeconomically, and we've gotten to a place where we are behind every other ethnic group, which I didn't think was possible in my lifetime.
Why not? Because that's what our intended purpose was to begin with.
I'm sorry, say again.
I mean, we've always been behind every.
I understand
have
that, but I didn't. We
in
were
American culture. I
we
feel like
were
we
the
have.
we were the largest minority, and we're no longer that anymore.
Okay.
And those other minorities, which is now the largest minority is Hispanics.
Mhm.
They have surpassed us in every way. And the single thread that appears evident in all the other minorities that have surpassed us is the structure of the family. So I'm looking at the decline of the black family as what reasons that we have for them and what ways we can fix it. Because I don't think all the stuff that ails us, all the crime, all the murders, all the skinny jeans, because that's ailing our society. The only way there's no magic solution. There's no grandiose proposition. It's gonna take some time. It's gonna take each person getting their house in order, literally.
But if you look at those other races, the family structure for the most part has stayed the same, regardless how much the woman makes or the man makes, whether he's a bum or not. It has always been handed down through the generations, the same thing. It's really only the black community to where it seemed like it hasn't stayed the same way.
Now, I got this interesting article. It's called "The Decline of the African American Family." And I was looking for stuff that I could bring to this discussion today, and I actually found quite a bit of interesting information. It looks at the black family before about 1960, and at it from 1960 till 2014. There's a couple very good points in this article that I highlighted, and you have to bear with me. I'm going to read it a little bit. It says racism is the normal explanation for the decline of the black family, but that analysis does not hold up. Thomas Sowell has shown that the black family survived centuries of slavery and generations of Jim Crow, where black children grew up in homes with two parents. In fact, when blacks were just one generation out of slavery, the census data of that era showed that slightly higher percentage of black adults had married than had white adults. One would be hard-pressed to believe that race issues in America are bigger today than they were in the past. Sowell's research shows that particular culture or human capital available to a people has had more influence on their economic level than their existing material wealth, natural resources, or individual geniuses. Even factoring for economic differences and severe social disadvantages, examples of a vibrant black family institution in America are too numerous to ignore. And he has some numbers that are actually kind of startling. In 1950, 72% of all black men and 81% of black women had been married. Every census from 1890 to 1950 showed black labor force participation rates were higher than those of whites. Prior to the 1960s, the unemployment rate for black 16 and 17-year-olds was under 10%. Before 1960, the number of teenage pregnancies had been decreasing. Both poverty and dependency were declining, and black income was rising in both absolute and relative terms to white income. In 1965, 76.4% of black children were born to married women. So what changed? Do we know? Did that even sound like our family structures now?
Nah.
Nothing like
No.
that.
Like, how many of us do we really know that want to get married or see a need to get married? Not want to, see a need to.
See, that's hard to ask
Yeah.
that question now because of our ages. Now, had it.
Uh-oh. Saved by the Bell. I don't know who this is.
I want her to finish because she was
I
going
do
down
too.
a
Good evening.
good path. I like that.
Hey, what's up, Art and Danny?
What's up, Danny?
Danny,
Who's this?
before let me put you on hold. Let me get this thought out of my head first. I'm sorry to
Oh,
cut
go
you
ahead,
off.
go ahead, go ahead.
Go ahead.
I think that's a hard question to ask right now because of our ages. Because I think where we are in life, we all want to get married. Okay. Now, if you have these conversations with someone in their 20s, then they're gonna not want to think about marriage. It's the furthest thing from their mind. You know what I mean? Their structure and their thoughts on the family structure is not there because they have so many other things that they're thinking about.
Right.
But once we're settled and in our careers and we're not in party mode and all that silly stuff, then you can have that conversation about the family.
I agree. I agree.
So I think it has a lot to do with maturity.
It does, but we're going to revisit that because I have something I want to add on to that. Danny, what's up, man?
Real quick, I just want to listen to the conversation and everything.
Yeah.
Do you guys think that the family dynamic of the black family, as far as the stability of the lack of black men that want to get married, the utmost part of everyone is having multiple kids by multiple fathers. Do you think that plays a toll within the dynamic of everything that's going on within the black family?
Well,
Because you have,
that's what Mark's talking about. That's the destruction of the black family.
I mean,
All
yeah.
of what you're talking about is
but the dynamic of it has actually, if you look at the way we grew up going and everything, having our mothers, fathers, even if you had a stepfather, you still had someone there, a mother and a two-parent household.
Right.
Right.
And versus now, where you have a bunch of single mothers out here trying to raise kids, and some single fathers trying to raise kids.
Right.
That plays a major part within the family dynamic and how we actually look at, as a people, as a black community, in dealing with this whole racial dynamic, like what Mark was reading with the statistics going through from 1890 to 1950 something, 65,
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah.
And then if you go from 65 to the present, you can see the decline in everything that's going on.
Oh, I got some numbers for that too.
And me personally, I feel as if how the dynamic, how it's a bunch of single mothers out here raising kids, it's a bunch of single fathers raising kids, everybody having multiple kids by multiple people, that's going to play a major part in the structure in our community. You see what I'm saying?
Or lack thereof.
Or lack thereof. Racial tension and everything, yes, it plays a major part, but
I think that's the start of it. To be honest with you,
I
don't think that's the start of it. I think that's something that we need to police ourselves. Because our actions may cause a lot of things sometimes.
Yes.
Sometimes. I'm not saying all the time, but sometimes.
Okay. Well, thank you, Danny. I'm gonna let you go now. I'm gonna read these numbers that you alluded to because I'm gonna bring us up to the present, if you don't mind.
Yeah, because I really want to hear these numbers too.
Okay.
But, all
right. Thanks for calling, bud.
Thank you, Danny.
Okay, so these numbers I'm about to read to you are disheartening. Now I'm gonna caution you guys because this data that I found, we can question it because it's data. So I'm not exactly certain where he got it. Some of the stuff he's gonna source, and you can always find numbers to the contrary. Okay, so it's just a baseline. You can do your own research. However, the statistics. Well, first of all, let me back one step up. This is what he says. The research says happened. Democratic Senator Daniel Patrick Moynihan, who wrote the Moynihan Report, called "Defining Deviancy Downward," and the Civil Rights Act of 1964, given legal credence to making any sort of behavioral judgment toxic. The cultural glue that held together the African American family was fundamentally changed. 1960. Between 1960 and 1964, blacks were rising into professional and other high-level positions at a rate greater than 5 years following the passage of the Civil Rights Act. In 1980, 31% of all black firstborn children were born to teenage mothers. By 1992, 54% of all black children were living only with their mothers. From 1990 to 1994, 77% of first births to black women were premarital. Not prenatal. In the 1980s and 90s, an absolute majority of those black families with no husband present lived in poverty. By the 2000s, 75% of blacks with a high school degree or some college were not married. Less than half of black students graduated from high school in the year 2005. In 2009, 73% of black children were born to unmarried mothers. In 2012, blacks in the state of New York constituted 78% of shooting suspects, and 74% of all shooting victims, even though they are less than 23% of the city's population. Young black men in New York are 36 times more likely to be murdered than young white men. Today, black males between the ages of 14 and 17 commit homicide at 10 times the rate of white and Hispanic males of the same age combined.
Who wrote this?
The person's name, Dean Callahar.
Is he black or white?
It didn't really matter to me, but he's black. I take it from the tone and tenor of what he wrote.
He has some good points though.
Now here goes some other data. In many urban areas, the black illegitimacy rate is well over 80%. The national unemployment rate for blacks is over 13%, nearly 5 points above the average for all Americans. All black teen unemployment is over 40%. If you notice back earlier, he referenced the teen unemployment in 1960 as under 10%. So we have all these problems facing us. And
Women, teen unemployment?
yeah.
But were teens really working back then?
Well, he stated that. He stated that. Let me see.
See, I think the whole structure has changed.
But
so
it
I
has
think it's hard to compare.
It is hard to
When you
compare,
say
but we need a
structure, what are we
baseline.
saying?
Meaning, I don't think a lot of teenagers were working in real jobs where they were getting real paychecks and taxes was taken out of their check in 1965.
Okay.
Today, yes.
But it's
Right.
Like when my mom and my aunts and them had jobs, they was working at the neighbor's house.
Okay.
You know what I mean? They was working. They had jobs where they were getting paid under the table. So how do you compare?
good evening, caller.
Hi guys, this is Jossie. How are you?
How are you? You sound like you're in
Hey.
the bathroom, Johnson.
Jossie.
Are you in the bathroom?
Sorry, I'm still at work actually, and I'm trying to find a quiet nook here.
And it's the
Jossie.
bathroom.
No, it's not the bathroom.
Okay.
Anyway,
What-
I just had a
Sanitize your
point
phone when
about-
you leave.
anyway. Thanks for the smile. I just wanted to make a quick point on what I think contributes. I'm not gonna say is the reason for the downfall of anything, but I do want to say what I think is contributing to the decline in the black family. And I'm gonna go ahead and be the one to say it that a lot of people won't say, but it's the acceptance openly of homosexuality. It's causing a lot of problems in the black family. You have feminine men, masculine women trying to run households, and I think that's a huge problem. Just in general, if you notice, a lot of other cultures don't accept homosexuality, and I'm not one to bash who you love, but just look at the numbers as well. Since homosexuality has been openly accepted, and just look at how the family structure is now. So that is a big, in my opinion, it plays a big factor in the decline of the black family. Another thing that I just wanted to touch on real quick is back in our parents' days, it was the goal of when you were young, you were taught. You grow up, you get married, you start a family. Now you're taught, you grow up, you go to college, you make money, you make a house. It's not embedded in your head when you're young anymore to have family. It's not important to have family. It's important to have money. It's important to have quote unquote things and success and possibly children if they fit into that mold. But that's not even being put into our heads anymore. When our mom was young, when our moms were young, or just look at the Color Purple days, you know, the women, we were told you're going to grow up and get you a nice husband and things like that. That's not even a conversation that families have anymore. The conversations that parents are having with their kids is about what college are you going to or having with their daughters. And that's excellent that they are having those conversations, but I think both conversations need to be had. I think we need to start putting the thought of family back into our kids' minds instead of just putting success in business and things like that.
But why do you think that is, though?
Because honestly, I think it's been made to look so normal that you don't need family. People have so many more families that they call in the street than their so-called real family that it looks like family isn't even important anymore. Family is, to some people, just who has your back. You know what I mean? In tough times,
or something you tattoo on your arm.
Yeah, right.
Family.
Seriously.
Yeah, I'm serious too.
But not only that, Jocelyn, you make a good point, because even in the church, you know what I mean, they preach to you about prosperity. Right. You know what I mean? How to make money and things like that. So I just think that's the culture of where we live.
Well,
you know, we're constantly fed make
Money,
make
right.
money, make money.
which is
So,
to our
And
detriment.
whoever
But
Think
makes the
about all
most.
those good love songs from the 80s and 90s. What good is money if you have no one to share it with
But
and things
Right.
like
but
that? What happened to that?
but they
You
were
know,
the
now
ones.
it's just money,
But
money,
they
money. And
but
go
Jocelyn,
ahead.
they were the ones that grew up on that structure though, so they knew how to sing about those songs. These niggas ain't singing
Mhm.
about that nowadays.
these who?
These
Exactly.
who?
Just exactly what I called
Yeah.
Oh, okay, all right.
I mean,
It's
so
easy,
that's just
but
the
you
big
know
part
what?
in my mind is just that it's not important to parents to show children how
Mhm.
important family is anymore. That it's not what they're saying is important. What they're saying is important is just self and success.
Right.
And
Right.
then, and like I said, the homosexuality part is another major part. We can play that down as much as we want, but that is a major factor in the black family as to decline of the family structure,
Well,
in my opinion.
well,
Great
thank
point.
you. Know what? You made a great point, and I want to thank you for calling in.
Thank
And
you for keeping that
Yes,
gangster.
and when you come, and don't
Jocelyn.
be afraid, everybody. I'm not going to tell you. This is going to be the first time and only time I will ever tell you to follow Jocelyn's example.
Wait,
We,
you know
in order
what?
to have this discussion, we need to have this discussion, and we
Mhm.
can't have it out in the open. We got to have it behind closed doors because my belief, the reason why I want to have this, we don't talk about a lot of the issues in the black community. We only talk about
Mhm.
certain ones that are popular. We
Mhm.
like even when we look at the family structure, we appoint blame to the women, right? We
Yep.
appoint blame to the men, right?
Nope.
But we don't talk about the whole thing because I mean everyone has their accountability in
And
this.
that's
So
true
thank you.
because I don't have these
You're
type of
welcome.
Hold on.
conversations with my
I-
family.
I-
And
I
that's,
get-
that's true.
Okay,
I get there.
Jocelyn,
Outside
have a good night.
All
influence.
right.
Please,
Thank
Good
you, guys.
please
Have a good
night.
one.
please sanitize your phone before reusing.
I get that.
Bye.
Bye.
I get that they're outside influences, but at the end of the day, it starts out with a man and a woman.
Yep.
But okay, so this is
Plain
it.
and simple. It starts there. And if those two are not getting along for whatever reason, I don't care what outside influences are, you're not going to have a peaceful home. You're not going to have a good home.
But okay, I understand that. And she made something earlier when I actually touched her and said I agree with her. We're kind of selfish though with that. Like I know we want it. We tell each other we want it. See, we got this individual mindset,
Mhm.
and you know, let's even push aside money. Everybody want to be happy,
Mhm.
but then
Yep.
everybody says that I got the right to be happy. Da, da, da. And so you know, for some of us, being happy is as simple as chasing our dick, right? Men,
Up to a point.
to a point,
Up
and then
to
you
a
get to a
point.
point where you want to see this is the danger in that because I think every man encounters this point. So I tell women who are single a lot that there's a possibility you'll find someone because most men come to a point where they want someone for their own. They'll get tired of that. I mean, everyone reaches at a certain different time. You know, it's not the same time, but you know
Mhm.
they'll come to that point. But when you have kids, males, females, because the women need our children need our guidance just as much. You're leading them into this. They're operating in this world. There's so many things that they cannot figure out on their own, and them figuring out on their own is detrimental at times.
But that's
Mhm.
because a lot of parents don't know themselves. You
Okay,
can't teach what you don't know.
but you do have the virtue of your wisdom from living a little bit. Every time, okay, so the reason why I say that this is near and dear to my heart because if we compare us to other cultures, right? Now we are unique people because of what happened to us in America.
Mhm.
But if you compare us to other cultures, I used to think the craziest thing ever was an arranged marriage, right?
Right. Right.
Mhm.
But what happens with the arranged marriage is they pretty much do all the vetting for you.
Mhm.
The two parents sit down. You get to see that education is important to
Mhm.
us. Such and such is important. We have pretty much the same values. We eat about the same food. Now y'all start dating because you're dating with the intent to marry.
Well, that's
Right.
because back then lineage was important.
No, I'm talking. In some cultures,
Even,
it still
even
is.
still now is
I
big.
mean, but you're talking about compared to the black or the American culture. Like
Right.
we don't really care about what happens down the road anymore. You know what I
But
mean?
you're making my point for me. This is
Right.
why we're in this shit pain.
Right.
Let me. Okay, so me and you, right?
Mm-hmm.
As much as my color's better than yours, but as much as our color is similar,
Whatever.
we couldn't be further apart ideological wise, right?
Right.
So that's the problem we have in the black community. Within the other communities, they may date outside, and some of them still marry outside, but for the
Right.
most part, they know what they're getting. And when you're young, you're gonna be defiant. So I don't know how many women I've met from other races, ethnicities that say they will never marry a man from the culture they come from. And as soon as they start touching 30, that's what they begin to look for, because
Right.
you at the end your roots call you. Well, we don't have any roots. I mean, none that's so strong that we want to adhere to.
Right.
Some of the trauma that goes on in our communities, we only can understand, but we understand it so much it's normal.
Yeah.
How many of us got t-shirts with our friend's name on it? You know what I'm saying? That's unique to us. And how are we going to make it better? By going to avenge his death so we can go to jail. You know what I'm saying? Like the whole circle, it's an undying, never ending. Well, circles never end. It's a never ending circle, and the only way that we can, I don't know how we're going to get some social economic freedom or respect. I think part of the reason why they murder us like dogs as police officers, you know, obviously, I hope I don't have to make this disclaimer too. Not all, some, but whatever. What we see that's going on, I don't think they respect us.
We don't.
They don't see
ourselves.
us as humans, but they damn sure don't respect us.
But we don't respect ourselves.
Other places don't. Not just whites. Other cultures don't have to deal with that. I know we can say we're unique, which we are, and what happened to us and what all the stuff that's happened to us in this country is unique to us. But are we tragically unique?
We don't respect ourselves. So why would someone outside respect us?
So how are we going to repair? For example, when Jocelyn made a good point about parents not pushing the marriage agenda, and I'm for marriage, obviously, but I'm not against people not getting married, because why are you getting married? What's the reason? Because I'm not so certain people are getting married for love or to build, because marriage isn't a bed of roses. So if you're gonna do it, there has to be a human agency there, a mentality that we are gonna build together. These kids we're gonna pour into and leave our legacy. We have to be on the same page. I don't see a whole lot of that. And at the end, we don't even have anything. I don't even know that we root for our kids the way we root for ourselves.
Right.
But see, I just think it's the part of like I said, I think for me it goes back to you can't teach what you don't know. I just think the Black family was broken down so much in the 60s and the 70s that part of the reason I think families disperse. I think they started moving around too much. I think they started going to different states to find happiness. And I think that's part of the reason why the structure is broken down. It's because we fell apart a long time ago for different reasons. Like I think as far as the immediate families, they started breaking off. You know what I mean? You got cousins that live in this state and cousins that live in that state. And you don't have the connection. And I think in order to really be strong, I think you got to really stay connected.
But you can have the connection within, it could just be the family unit that's within the house. You don't need it to be. For example, do you want to get married? Do you aspire to that?
Absolutely.
Why?
Because I cannot survive alone.
Is it a bucket list item, or do you aspire to? Because do you aspire do you aspire to change the pathology that you don't like?
I really don't think. First of all, the reason why I believe that I'm not married is just not my time. Because I don't really think that I'm leading the type of life that would cause me not to be a wife.
No, I didn't.
You know what I mean?
I'm not asking you why you're not. I just want to know why you.
I have a question when we get a moment.
Good evening, caller.
Don't forget it.
Hey, this is Jenna.
Oh, Jenna. You know what? I thought that you were someone calling to propose to Tiana, because I think she wants to. No, anyway, go ahead.
Hi, Jenna.
That's my boo, because I'm calling to actually agree with her.
On which?
Because I think that if you don't know, you can't teach. You know, I'm raising a beautiful young woman, but I couldn't tell her about the family structure or about marriage because I didn't know that growing up. I know how to teach her about education and respecting yourself and being an independent person and being a good citizen. But the other things I learned from the Cosby Show.
And you
know,
notice,
and that's not even real.
I was about to say, and you know, well, why? Just because
Well,
Bill
wait.
had a few bad nights, or
So you didn't
Well,
teach her to
not that,
respect a
right.
man?
Right.
Did you teach her to respect a man? To let him lead you?
'Cause
That
I-
he's your
What'd you say,
covering?
Mike?
I said, did you teach her to respect men, be nice to men, that he's her covering?
That I don't know. I haven't gone through your class yet, so I need to go through that class first.
It's
that's
too late
her-
at this point because she's like 16.
But
If you
that's
haven't
what-
been teaching her that,
But
then
that's her
she's behind the
point.
8 ball.
That's
if
her
you
point.
if you
She
go
don't know.
if you go to his class, you won't even
But
get a
she-
paper certificate when you
But
finish.
she watched the Cosby Show. That's what the Cosby Show was about. You didn't see Claire Huxtable bopping her head side to side against Bill, did you? Or disrespecting Bill? You
He'd
didn't
have
see
put
that.
something in her drink.
Oh my God. You stupid.
And she was a
What I
lawyer.
got from the Cosby Show was that a woman can be strong, she
Mhm.
can be professional
Mhm.
and powerful and
Uh-huh.
successful, and still lead a family. That's what I got from that.
So you missed
and
the
I try
whole
to
part.
do that.
Oh, you missed
Hold
the-
on.
know.
So
Hold on.
you-
So you missed the whole
Yeah,
part
you
out of
missed
that.
a big part.
Well, you know, I honestly, Jenna, what you took, people can take what they want from, and
People
they
take what
would,
they
and
need,
that's what
too.
she, that's what
You
she
take what you
identified
need,
with.
yeah.
It's interesting about the Cosby
Yeah.
Show example because shows like that are no longer on TV because it was a powerful representation, and that show was never
Exactly.
that show
Right.
was never supposed to work. It was never
let me
supposed to be
tell
the
you
success it was
why-
supposed to be.
Let me tell you why that part spoke to me, because I didn't have a strong female role model. So I had to attach to something.
Right.
I wasn't focused on the man, so I had to learn from something of what a strong woman looks like.
And we know, and now you don't even have. Well, you got those images on Reality Housewives, but
Oh yeah.
Right, but
Bopping all
but-
over the TV.
But Jenna-
but Jenna, let's take a step back and analyze that. You had that to identify with and to latch on and to help you make the steps that you made in life. Now they have these housewives shows, and make sure your daughter is not watching them.
She is not.
Make sure she's not watching them because I what's going on now, I cannot see getting any better in our
I
community.
disagree, and I disagree.
I don't see it getting better either.
No, I disagree.
It's
and
gonna
I-
get
and
worse.
I'ma
It's getting worse.
Let me
Look-
tell
look
you why
at
I
TV.
disagree. No. Let me tell you why I disagree.
Mhm.
Because and we're gonna, for me, we're gonna stick with the years 1965 up until now.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I believe there was about a 20-year span where black men were non-existent at all in
what?
their children's life. Yes.
Wait,
hold on.
I
hold on.
believe I believe
can
the
I- can I ask
70s
one
and the
question?
80s, I believe black men were existent from the household, period.
You mean like dinosaurs?
Just dinosaurs.
There's
Daddy
no
just
trace of them on the
wherever.
earth.
I'm serious, and that's
P-Town?
that's the generation. No, that's everywhere. That's the generation, the 30s and the 40s, who weren't raised with their fathers. Now,
That's true.
now
don't know nothing,
I
Jen.
believe black men are they're sharing the responsibility
Of?
of raising their children.
Of?
Now they haven't completely gotten to the point where we're in the same household,
Mm-hmm.
but nowadays you have men fighting to raise their kids. Men were not fighting to raise their kids in the 80s and the 90s. Come on, let's be honest. They weren't fighting over
I
they
I don't know
weren't.
anything about
I don't
that.
know anything
They
about
weren't.
that.
I saw-
So I'm
They-
In the
listening.
neighborhoods I lived
I'm
in,
listening to you.
there
They
was a
weren't.
mother, there was a father.
That's
and
because
there were
that's
children.
the culture y'all were raised in. Y'all were probably. I'm not going to.
I can tell you this,
Washington D.C.
I can tell you this for certain.
Hyattsville.
and in the 80s and the 90s, I was black. That's all I can say.
I
She
agree with
said-
him on this one. I
she
think
said, I
I
don't-
think this is
No, I
something
think
new.
there were
This is
men
some
were
new
not
stuff.
raising their kids. Prime example, we have women in their 30s who were not raised by their fathers. You have
It's a lot of
black men who were not raised by their fathers
It's a
in their
lot of them.
30s and in their 40s. That's that generation
And
where the men were.
you think it's not going to happen
non-existent.
now?
I just think it's gotten better.
You think so?
Yes. With
Now-
everything that I believe more and more men are really, really fighting for custody and fighting for time. I really, truly think, in my heart, honest to God, I believe that we are getting better.
Who are they fighting? And why are they fighting?
They're fighting the system.
Uh-huh.
They're fighting a system that was created to separate us.
So if they
They
were,
had that with the
why
woman,
are they
though.
fighting the system?
Right.
When I
If
mean
them
the
and the woman,
men,
not the woman,
the
though.
men are fighting a system that was created to separate us.
Okay, I'm slightly confused, but
I'm
I'm gonna let
confused,
you
too.
go ahead, go with that. Jenna, you still there?
But
I was.
I want to say, I
so
want to
good.
ask Jenna something though.
Okay.
You say you watched the Cosby Show and you saw this
Yeah.
strong black woman. Is that the only character that was on that show?
Right,
You
I
didn't
got
notice
that
how she
question too.
No, I
interacted?
wouldn't say that. I would
Right.
say,
So how did you ignore
know,
that part of what she did on the show? You saw her cooking. You saw her being submissive. She raised her children. All that good stuff. How did you ignore
Yeah.
all of that just to
I
say
didn't say I ignored that. You were focused on Bill.
no?
I
But
was
you
focused
saw how
on
she
Claire.
acted towards Claire.
I
I mean,
like,
Claire acted
what
toward
you,
Bill.
What you just ran down was a job description of everything she did. I just gave a summary of the things I was just saying I noticed. I just gave a summary. She is what she was, the all-American, African-American woman. You know what I mean? And it's like, I have to have something to go from. So in relationships, I play my role. Now, sometimes I can overstep, but I need someone to be the leader in the relationship. And that's why, I try to gravitate towards men that can be the leaders. So I don't have to take that role,
Because you
wanna
have a
be
lot
the
of
wife.
men that
I
don't
want to be
want
the
to
neck
be.
and he be the head. I want that.
Somebody say head.
Bye.
Right?
All right. I'll talk to you later,
Oh,
Jenna.
man.
Bye.
Thank you for calling.
Okay, so something's about to happen, which I did not want to happen. But
Why?
I did know this was a broad topic. I don't think we're going to be able to even scratch the surface tonight. So I think we're going to have to revisit this again one time. But in the last 8 minutes, we'll continue. If anybody want to call, they can call in. I
Yeah,
will
but
say this.
I just want to ask a question.
Go ahead.
Tiana, do you want a marriage or a wedding?
I want a marriage.
Okay. That's it.
Yeah, I
A
want
lot
a
of
marriage.
American women, they really just want a wedding.
That's the reason why I waited so long. I think I could have had the
To
wedding.
save up for your
I
wedding?
could have had the wedding.
You waited for
I've
that to
had-
save up for your
I
wedding?
could have had the wedding. I had an opportunity to have the wedding.
Okay.
I could have had that, but
It's just a question I
I want
asked.
a marriage.
With a man?
So you go to the
You
courthouse?
about to
I
cuss.
was.
You fixed your lips to say it.
Let's go to the
I
courthouse, Tiana. Let's
was.
go. We going to the courthouse.
Oh,
Oh, now you don't want to go to
Hey,
the
look.
courthouse? Oh,
I'ma
you
tell-
see
hey,
that
no,
face?
no,
She
she
ain't
ain't
going to
going
no
to the courthouse.
courthouse. See what I mean?
Did she tell
You
you
want to
she
win.
waited?
You don't want no marriage.
She waited long
That was
enough.
a setup.
So she
Y'all see
got
him? Y'all see him set me up?
You do not
In
want no
in 1 minute-
I
marriage.
do, but why does it have to be either or? Don't do that.
Okay,
Stop
but
that.
let's
Don't do that.
let's
Oh,
investigate
You about to
because
make me ring
Tiana's
the
talking.
bell on you.
Tiana made some good points about the men not being
Oh.
there. I don't know about them being dinosaurs for 20 years and
Right.
reappearing on the earth, but
That's
they
my
weren't there
objection.
raising their kids. So, do you believe? Because I believe that as a group, as a whole, we're operating at a deficit because a lot of us don't know.
Yeah.
We don't know the inside dynamic of how a relationship really works.
But see, I think we know. I swear. I
How
think
can we
got
know?
more common sense.
If
I
you
really
didn't
think
see
we
it.
know.
If you didn't see it every day,
Jenna is the prime example. She said
Of
she
what?
saw it on the Cosby Show, and the both of you said, "Why couldn't she?" She
Well,
got
I'm not-
something from
I'm not going to
it.
question what she got from the Cosby Show because
But
we're going to all
we know.
interpret
I
things
just
differently.
think we choose not to use what we know.
What do you
I
mean
think
we
that's
know?
part of the problem.
You know
We-
what I mean?
no, I agree.
I really do believe
We know
that
what,
we
though?
know.
We know what,
We
though?
know how to have a family. Men know that they need to be in the house with their kids and their wife. Men know
I
that.
believe
But-
that.
but-
no,
Women
I'm
know that
wholeheartedly.
we know that
Well,
we
that's-
need to be
that's-
submissive and shut the hell up. We know.
No,
We just
you
don't do
You
it.
know, we just
You
don't
don't.
We
do
just
it.
don't do it. I
You
agree.
don't do it.
I'm
I
serious.
totally agree.
You don't do it,
I
though.
do it.
You don't do it.
But you don't want to go to the courthouse.
You don't do it.
We
Listen.
gotta go to the courthouse anyway to get it signed.
No,
right?
Listen.
we ain't having that
Don't
other
you gotta
stuff.
get-
We just going to the courthouse. That's it.
There
We
are
can't
certain
even go to
things.
the backyard. Like, at least give me a backyard. wedding.
Nah, we going to the courthouse. We going to
we
get a
just
marriage.
gonna walk up there
We going to get a marriage, not a wedding.
in front of this man. Who's the man at the courthouse?
Doesn't matter.
It does
We going
matter.
before God. We're not going in front
At
of
the
this man.
courthouse?
He's just a witness. We're spreading our
Somebody
vows.
got backyard. Mark, you got
Oh
backyard.
Lord.
Not for you to get
married.
married in.
A driveway.
Matter of fact, that's where I put the
Give me
trash.
something.
The trash is in the backyard. Y'all
We
go
just
right
got to
out
get
there.
started with these kids. Let's go.
I'm like, how you gonna have the kids before the backyard wedding?
A lot of people do
Because
that.
we're not having a backyard wedding.
lot of
That's
people
the
do that.
problem.
We going to the courthouse.
How is that the problem?
Too many people having kids before the wedding or before the marriage.
Is that what you believe?
Absolutely.
That is a big problem.
That's one of the
Well, listen here. Listen here.
points.
Listen here. I agree with you. But these are discussions, again, that we don't have.
I know. You're
Within the
right.
black community,
I
because
don't
it's
have these discussions
because
in my family.
because it's
we
so
talk about everything
pervasive.
else, though.
Because it's so pervasive within the black community, we
Yeah.
can't even have that discussion.
Right.
So how are we going to address what ails us?
So we can have the conversation with strangers, but we're not having the conversation.
We don't have discussion. We
I
don't
don't think
air.
we respect
We
each
don't
other enough
air.
to
We're not
have
gonna
a conversation
air
like that.
We're not going to.
And within the family.
Within the family, within our community. And the reason why I say that is because, like, if you don't like what I'm saying, not necessarily you,
Mhm.
but if you don't like what I'm saying, the first thing you want to do is go off on me instead of saying, okay, I hear you, but this is my opinion. So if everybody's yelling at each other, no one is listening.
Right.
Okay, so we're up against the end of the show, and I'm going to get to the end of the article. The end of the article goes, the good news is that these things can be turned around because a thriving nuclear family is at the heart of African American tradition. And there's some steps he put in here. First, we must acknowledge that well-intentioned social have uprooted traditional cultural incentives and legitimize an entitlement attitude that is counterproductive and harms children. Second, we must stop ignoring bad behavior and choices in the African American community. Discriminating between proper and bad behavior as a legitimate judgment is not discrimination or bigotry. Basic psychology tells us when you are allowed to get away with and are rewarded for bad behavior, you reinforce and get more progressively worse behavior, and that also harms children. Third, there must be an admission that clinging to counterproductive culture that is supposedly authentic in the name of group pride or to avoid self-reliance and personal responsibility is not historically incorrect, and it harms children. Lastly, the African American community, with or without the civil rights establishment, must acknowledge and demand that family is and will forever be the originator and primary transmitter of social capital, values and character traits that enable children on becoming adults to seize opportunities and become productive citizens. Toxic role models that guide children into a culture of destructive behaviors must be challenged. So, we lack role models. We don't have a model around us. We don't have the models around us to have this black family that we all so desire, or maybe we don't all
Do you
desire.
think we need a leader? Because in the 60s there was a leader.
I don't know that we need. We're always looking for some messiah or a leader. I think what would be beneficial is in each neighborhood,
Yes.
someone or a couple of men just make their presence be seen.
Right.
Just you don't even have to go always interact with, just to see what, like, it's hard to be what you don't see. It's hard. And a man being around the place, ladies, is super beneficial to a kid, and he or she won't know it until they reach our age.
Right.
Just watching him every day. Some ladies, like the girl who wrote
But
that
there's a
damn thing that I read in the
But
beginning.
hold on, Mike. There's
Yes,
a
sir.
difference between a man being around and a husband being in the household. Men can be around, but are they in the house?
Every day.
Every
I'm
day.
talking about my stipulation is every day.
Every day.
Because
But
every
I think
day
you have
shows
to specify that because, again, some people don't know.
I will specify every day, because it shows the level of commitment, and you won't recognize that commitment until you get older, and you won't appreciate it as a kid.
Mhm.
You'll take it for granted because they're there.
Right.
And then you realize when you step out in the real world, especially if you're a man watching a man, and when you realize you get older and you get this itch every now and again, and your father still came home every day, regardless of what happened, good or bad or whatever. And he came home, was cranky as a motherfucker, but was there for you to bail you out and to provide you the discipline that you needed, that you benefit from today as you get older. Any final words? Because I think we need to end this. And we're going to revisit this topic because we didn't even scratch the surface. And I didn't quite get it. I needed some dissenting views. I needed opposition, but we'll prep you guys next time to when we're going to have this
Well,
show.
I'll go
We're
far
never
left
have
next time.
opposition. That's not going to happen.
I'll go far left next time. I'll go so overboard.
No.
The phone line will just light up.
I will just say this. I'll say
Because
this.
I don't think we're going to get opposition because I think a lot of us are thinking the same way nowadays.
I will never make that assumption. I'll never say that, because the black community is the interests are so disparate. I think that's why we are segregated
I think
like
we're
this.
getting better.
I don't think we
I'm
are.
not
I think we're
convinced.
getting better.
I would love
Maybe
to
I'm
see it
getting
though.
older.
I don't
this
think women are
woman is-
getting better.
I think.
I think they're
Okay.
getting worse.
And
Hey, I
on
agree
that
with
note,
that.
I know you do.
on that
I agree
note,
with that. I agree.
We
I
still
sure
going to the courthouse.
that does it
You gonna get
For
that
this
back
week's
out later. I don't know what he's talking about.
edition
Oh,
of He
Lord.
Say.
She say,
This is your man Mark.
"This is Tiana.
El Presidente.
Next week, people.
Good night."